Well, a very good morning from Phuket. Welcome to the channel. My name's Tony. If you're new here, please do check out some of my other content. Well, today I've come back out to take a second look at Phuket's oil problem because I think I underestimated the situation on the first video. I didn't think it was that serious. I thought the authorities would have everything in hand, it would be cleaned up very, very quickly and everything would be forgotten about. Well, that isn't quite the case because I've received numerous messages, emails, PMs, all sorts of contacts from various people saying how bad the situation here is in Phuket. I have noticed some local media reports as well, reporting on the marine life that's suffered because of the oil spill that we've had recently. This took place just over a week ago now. I was a little bit late picking it up, I'll be honest. It was about 3 days after the incident that I actually went out and took a look at it, and from what I could see initially all the beaches looked like they'd been cleaned, but I've had several comments, messages, as I mentioned, about the situation. One guy in Patong, his shoes was ruined through walking on the beach. He had to throw them away because they were literally covered in oil. Lady in Bald&Bored Beach, same sort of problem, clothing, shoes, lots and lots of reports coming in from various beaches, including the beach behind me, which is Yanui Beach, where we're going to start and take a look. Now, the problem, I think, is initially when you look at the beach looks clean, but the oil seems to be underneath the sand. That's what people are saying. Even though it initially looks clear, it's not. The authorities have been out. I know various groups have been out helping the authorities clean away the oil contamination from the beaches, and that has been taking place over the last week or more. But of course, the oil itself is a very difficult substance to clean away. Of course, it gets in the sand, underneath the sand, it's in the water, it's on everything it touches. It's very difficult to get it all. So we're going to take a second look and see whether we can see any more oil contamination. If I see anybody that I can ask whether they've had any problems, I'm going to do that as well. So let's jump into the video and take a look first at Yanui Beach, and then we're going to move up to Patong. Now, good news for anybody wondering about the weather. The last 5 days we have seen quite a bit in the way of rain, I'll be honest with you. We've had some very prolonged showers, heavy at times. Most of them have been very heavy, if I'm honest. Now let's just take a look at where the sea line is, because I can see a dark patch there. I've actually put my older shoes on because I'm concerned that my shoes are going to get ruined if there is oil on the beach, and we're just going to take a look and see whether we can see anything obvious, because people are saying that it's not obvious. Now I can't see anything there that would say oil. And the tide's in at the moment on this beach. But look at the weather today. Isn't it beautiful? After 5 days of rain, the sun has finally come out. Let's hope this weather lasts, because the last 5 days haven't been very nice. So anybody that's arrived in the last week, unfortunately, they haven't had a great start to their holiday. Now, Phuket is a little bit quieter at the moment. A few people commenting in my group saying that it's full, and it's far from full, I've got to admit. Well, there are a few people here. It's not completely dead, but it's definitely not full. Now, Yanui Beach is sandwiched between Rawai and Bald&Bored Beach. It's only a small beach, but it's very, very pretty. So as you can see, the tide is in. It's got swim here flags, so swimming's allowed today. And as I say, I can't see anything obvious on this beach, but somebody has reported that they've got oil on them on this beach. So this time, when I come off the beach, because the last time, if you remember, when I got home or when I got to the business, I found oil on the bottom of my shoes, and I wasn't sure where that oil had come from. Now I think it had actually come from Caron's beach, because somebody's complained about the same problem at Caron since I visited it, so obviously it's underneath the sand. I'm going to check my shoes each time I come off the beach and see whether I can see anything obvious, but at the minute I can't see any traces of it. Now, the authorities have been trying to trace where the spills come from. They have got a difficult job, to be fair, because reading the local media, there's been over 100 vessels that have passed the island of Phuket, and obviously the oil could have come from any one of those ships, and they're trying to trace it because obviously they've got quite an expensive bill as regards the cleanup operation, and they want to give it to somebody to pay. But as yet, I don't believe they've found the vessel that's been responsible for this incident, and it has caused a lot of problems here on the island of Phuket for marine life, the coral that's surrounded the shorelines. There's been contaminated, of course, so it's not just the people that have had the inconvenience, it's affected the marine life, which is a little bit more serious. But honestly, I can't see anything obvious on Yanui Beach. But I would say that if you are going to be using the beaches in the next month or so, then just bear it in mind that there may be some contamination in places and you may get oil on your shoes. So it's worth just keeping that in mind, or on your clothing. But looking at the sand and looking at the beach, there is nothing obvious that I can see. Nothing at all. Not here anyway. And that's, I don't know where that's draining out from, but that certainly doesn't look like a nice colour. It doesn't look a nice colour at all going into the sea. Let's just check my shoes. Doesn't look like there's any oil on them. Definitely not. So, Yanui Beach, from what I can see, looks reasonably clear. I'm not going to say it's 100% because I honestly don't know. It could be somewhere under the sand, because somebody has reported this beach having a problem. But I've checked it out and I can't see anything that's jumping out at me. So we're now going to jump over to Patong and take a look at Patong Beach. Okay, well, I've just left Yanui Beach and I'm just passing the Naham Lake here, and I happened to look down at my shoe. Even though I had looked earlier and said there was no oil on them, there you go. There is oil on Yanui Beach, because I've only just left it and I'm literally passing Naham on the way to Patong, and there you go. That is oil in the sand. So it is a problem here in Phuket. The beaches do have oil on them. Even though it doesn't look very obvious on the surface, there's definitely oil there, because you can clearly see that. I hope you can see that, and that is oil residue there, and it is on my shoes. So if you're coming over here, you definitely want to be taking care on the beaches, because as we've just looked, and I couldn't see any oil on the surface of the beach, but there's some there because that's where I've picked it up. Okay, well, while I was bending down with my one shoe, I've actually got oil on my other shoe, which is now transferred onto my jeans because I was leaning on the shoe and the oil is there. So now I've got it on my jeans. So I can understand people's frustration with not only getting it on their shoes, they're getting it on their clothing, because it's very easy to transfer. I didn't even know it was on the other shoe, but there's some oil there, and now it's on the back of my jeans as well. So I've got to find something, because I don't have any tissue to clean it off with. We're going to go to Patong anyway and take a look there. I'll be back to you once I arrive. Okay, so I've just arrived here at Patong Beach, and I have no doubt in my mind, after only spending a few minutes on Yanui Beach and already picking up oil, not on one shoe but on both shoes, which has now transferred onto my back of my jeans because I wasn't aware that it was on my second shoe. So definitely take care when coming to the beach, no matter what beach you visit here in Phuket, especially on the west side, because it seems that that's where the contamination is. Just take a look at the beach. Tide's really far in today. I've not known it that far in, but then again I don't come to Patong that often, but it seems a long way in today. It's definitely got people on the beach. So we're in the middle of monsoon season and there's plenty of people about. Again, I'm sure it's not going to be very obvious if there is oil on the beach. We're not going to spot it easily. You can see it's quite busy. A lot of people. And lifeguard there trying to get that guy in. We've had a lot of people drowned over the last 2 weeks. I think it's been 5 or 6 people. But people persist in swimming even when they really shouldn't. But to be fair, I don't see any red flags in this part. I can see a flag over there which says swim here. Okay, maybe this flag here, red flag, one on either side of the one that says swim here. But it's not very clear. I can understand maybe if you're down this section of the beach, you don't realise that you shouldn't be out there. It's not exactly calm today. It's still a little bit rough. The weather has really picked up today. Over the last 12 hours, it has changed a lot. Because as I mentioned earlier, we have seen a lot of rain the last 4 or 5 days, and some of it's been really heavy, to be fair. But the weather's improved today, really nice. The wind's dropped down. There's a little bit of a breeze coming in from the sea, but not too much once you move inland. But the beach is busy. But I'm not seeing any evidence that people would be aware that there's oil on these beaches. There's definitely is, unfortunately. So I would definitely be mindful of the fact that there could be oil on the beaches and carry something with you if you're coming to the beach to maybe clean it off if you do get any oil on you, because it's very easily transferred onto your clothing, as I've found out this morning. And unfortunately I didn't bring anything. I never thought about bringing anything until it's too late. Now just spare a thought for the marine life, because if I've got it on my shoes that easily this morning, just imagine what it must be like around the coral areas and in the sea areas, because these beaches have been cleaned. This is after the clean-up operation, so that's been taking place for the last week or more. I mean, this has been going on about 2 weeks nearly. The first reports coming in, maybe a little bit longer, I'm not quite sure. But even after the beaches have been cleaned, not just by the authorities, but some independent groups have been doing it as well, there are still traces of oil on the beach. I'm just looking at that sand there. It looks a little bit like dark patch. I'm gonna do another check of my shoes when I get back, or when I get off the beach, and just see whether I've picked up any more, because it's not obvious. It's not obvious at all. So the reports that I've been getting are accurate, and it's the whole of the west coast. I don't think there's one beach that hasn't been mentioned by somebody having oil on them all the way down the west coast. So all the way down from Rawai all the way up to Nika Beach. So that shows you the extent of the spill. As I mentioned, the authorities are looking for the people that are responsible. Whether they're going to be able to find them, I don't know. But even if they do, I'm not sure what that difference that will make, because the spill's already happened and the damage has already been done. I do feel sorry for the marine life, because I have been seeing reports on the local media of a lot of marine life, birds, turtles, being impacted by the spill, and even the coral as well. So it's a long-term damage that it may have done. No, I thought maybe that was something. I can't see anything obvious on the beach. To be honest, the beaches look really nice at the moment, but it's deceiving. Okay, so I've just come off the beach and I'm just gonna clean off the bottom of my shoe to see whether I've got any more oil on the bottoms. Doesn't look like it, to be fair. It's just that piece there and that piece there. This has both come from Yanui Beach. Now there's nothing more added to that. So from that short walk down Patong Beach, I haven't picked anything up. But as I've already said, if you're coming here on holiday in the next few weeks, then I would be mindful of the beaches that you could possibly get oil on your shoes, on your clothing, etc. So just be mindful of it, because I think it's going to be around for a little while yet, and I don't think the authorities have managed to get it all. It's one of those things, it's a difficult thing to clean up once the oil's been spilt, I know that. And once it starts to congeal and it gets underneath the sand, you can't even see it until, unfortunately, you either step in it or put your hand in it or whatever the case may be. So just be a little bit careful, and I hope you found today's video helpful and informative, and if so, as always, give the video a thumbs up, because it does really help push the video forward. And I guess that just leaves me to say, as always, thanks for watching, and until next time, you take care, and I'll catch you on the next one.